Zoe's about to go play with some doggies today. It's another day to go get some daycare because she was running around like crazy last night, weren't you? Thought I would come out here to the lake, do a little bit of running around. My personal trainer is having me do sprints instead of the long distance stuff. I guess it just works different muscles in the legs, and it's definitely a challenge. So my excuse about running 5Ks and long distance runs is that I was never really a distance runner. I was always more of a sprinter, and then I played tennis, which really doesn't involve much distance at all. It's just, 10 feet at a time. So my trainer's like, well, actually you need to be running sprints anyway, because that's sort of like HIIT training, high intensity interval training, which is sort of what she's got me doing. And so now I'm running sprints, and she was like, maybe it'd be easier for you since you're more of a sprinter. And so I'm out here running sprints, and it's clearly not easier for me. Clearly I just suck at running is what it comes down to. And yes, by the way, new haircut. This is where I do that thing where I say, you know what, I worked out, I'm gonna get something nasty. Coffee and breakfast taco, two great tastes that taste great together. Part of this nutritious breakfast. So today is kind of a travel day. Actually, there's no kind of about it. I'm definitely doing some traveling today. I'm going to be driving down to Austin to see my mom, and we are going to spend a couple days together, a little bit of a Mother's Day thing. But no, I don't get to see my mom that often, and mostly on holidays and stuff, so we try once a year to just kind of do something where it's just the two of us, taking a little trip together. And this year we're going to Austin. We're going to a little spa resort. We're going to get some facials and massages. We're going to treat ourselves. So I'm doing this, and I'm going to pack a bag, and then I got one more thing to do, and then I'm going to hit the road. All right, so I just stammered through a segment for Our Ludicrous Future. We're doing something different this time because, hang on, let me close some stuff out here. Because we couldn't all get together. Normally, if I'm available and Tim is available but Ben isn't, then we'll just go ahead and record just the two of us, or vice versa, whatever. But in this case, like literally there was not a single time that all three of us, or even two of us, could get together. So what we're doing is we're just kind of recording segments. They're just gonna kind of follow each other. Don't know if it's gonna be any good. I really didn't have anything that interesting to talk about, so I just pulled up some articles. So this is weird. I was just checking the mail before I left, and I got this box, and it says it's from, where'd it go? Yeah, United Launch Alliance. Interesting. It looks like it's in a box for some kind of pastry fundraiser thing or something. In case you're wondering, I don't like getting mail from United Launch Alliance. I have no idea what this is. This is so weird. Hang on. Look at that. The Vulcan Centaur. They sent me a little model Vulcan rocket. Are you Vulcan kidding me? Guys, this does not, my hands are shaking. Why are my hands shaking? This is not something that like happens to me. This might be Tim's reality, but it's not mine. I don't just get stuff from even fans that often, but especially like from companies. As far as I know, nobody's like offered to send me this. I don't think they ever. Huh. Well, that's gonna have to go on my little shelf. Look at this. Little Vulcan rocket. It's got little SRBs on the side there. That's really cool. Well, thanks, Tori, if that's who sent this to me. Tori Bruno, the CEO of ULA, he actually like shouted me out on Twitter one time. That was pretty cool. So maybe that's where this came from. And my cabinet, there are ants all over the kitchen. All right, coffee is got. I got a full tank of electrons and about 200 miles to Austin, so shouldn't be any problem. Typically when I go to Austin, I stop at Waco along the way. It's just a good place to stop and charge up a little bit before I get there. But that's because I'm going to my in-laws' house, and there's not really a place to charge out there. I mean, I can plug into their wall, which I've done before, but it just, you know, you only get like 50 miles or so throughout the night. So I'm just gonna drive straight to Austin, and yeah, I'm not exactly gonna CGP gray record this entire thing, but might check in if something interesting happens. This is like a Tesla tower. I forget the name of the company. It starts with a V, like Vision or something like that. But this little, it's behind the trees now. But these guys are basically trying to do, and when I say Tesla, I don't mean the car company. I mean Nikola Tesla. Hang on, let's get past this guy. But no, they're trying to basically recreate what he was building at Wardenclyffe. The idea of wireless electricity that could just be beamed to everything, so everything could just be powered by electricity pumping through the air. That's what these guys are trying to do. They're like trying to take Nikola Tesla's technology and bring it into the 21st century or whatever. I've actually reached out to them to try to do a video with them, to like come out and, you know, kind of get some stuff and interview them and whatnot. And they basically said they weren't quite ready for that yet, but they would reach out to me when the time was right. So yeah, I wanted to kind of catch that while I drove past. So this morning I got me a massage, I got me a facial. So facials. It was been really cold, and I only packed shorts because I didn't expect it to be cold, and I don't know how to look at weather apparently. But it's warming up a little bit. It's okay. So actually right now I'm going to get my car because they have a destination charger here, and I was able to charge up. I got all the way down here without hitting a supercharger. I'm charging here. I don't think I'll need to hit a supercharger on the way back. Pretty sweet. All right. Some ants are getting a charge. 292 miles, there's 100 miles, no, 200 miles to get back, so should be good. Quick funny thing about this place, I want to kind of document a little bit of this, because again, whenever I travel, it's actually something interesting that's worth pointing a camera at. They actually, when I got in here, I had to sign a no smoking and no cell phone policy. I'm not kidding. It's supposed to be like this relaxation place. They don't want people walking around talking on their phones. So, yeah, I'm a little bit kind of trying to be respectful of that. Also, you know, my mom, I'm here to spend time with her. She's in the room right now. And I would love to kind of get her on camera, but, you know, something I'm learning is that most people don't like being on camera, especially when it's guaranteed that like 1,000 people are going to look at it. So, she probably will not be doing that. So they keep the ducks around, they eat the snails off of the plants. Hello, my duckies. So I guess those are geese. Those are geese and those are ducks. Mm-hmm. Little duckies. Little geesies. Get some. All right, well, the mom and I said our goodbyes. She's heading a different direction from me. She's going out toward West Texas, and I'm heading up toward Dallas. So I got 289 miles on the car and charging, and never had to stop at a supercharger. So the trip itself is 205 miles. So I should get there with no problem, but it's saying I'm gonna have like 9% when I get there, which is a little disconcerting. I would rather have closer to 20, but we'll see. When I get to Waco, if I start to, you know, if I look at the energy usage and it's going down and it looks like it might be a little touchy, I'll go ahead and stop and charge up. But a little bit of weather. My wife headed down this way to see her mom, and said that she got stuck in some really bad weather, like had to pull off on the side of the road. I was looking at the map, and it doesn't look like it's going to be quite that bad for me, but I mean, it's sprinkling a little bit right now. Might have to just keep an eye on it, but I'm not too worried. Hopefully a couple hours, maybe about 3 hours, get home, play with the dogs, let them out, and then I have some scripting to catch up on. But hey, listen. Stopped for a bio break at the world famous Buc-ee's, which has the best bathrooms on the planet. Got little provisions too. Gonna grab a bite. It's about lunchtime now. Alright, I gotta say, I'm a little confused here because it says I've got 166 miles on the tank, and the trip is gonna be 111 miles, which seems like I should have plenty of juice to get there, and yet when I go a little bit over 70, I get this thing that tells me to keep it under 70 if I want to make it there. And it's saying I'm gonna have trouble making it, and it's like, it's not doing it now. It's trying to make a fool of me. It's trying to make a fool of me. No, I really don't get it, because I drove all the way down there to Austin and then around to that place on Lake Austin where I met with my mom, and I still had 80 miles left. And now I'm taking the exact same route back, and it's telling me I'm gonna have trouble getting there. I don't know if it has to do with this weather, that maybe the wind's blowing me around a bit more, because I do feel like I'm getting blown around a bit. I am over this rain, dude. It's been raining constantly. And I still wish Tesla would fix the wiper situation. I don't know if it's showing up on the camera very well, but it just kind of sits there and waits until I literally can't see anything before they go again. And I really wish they would tweak these. It needs to be more sensitive. So I'm like 1,000% sure I could make it all the way home without charging, but there's a charging station in Italy, Texas, which is pronounced Italy because Texas. And I never visited it before, so I thought, why not go ahead and just stop, charge up for a couple minutes, and so that's what I'm doing. And this is going faster than I think I've ever seen. 500 miles an hour. Or an hour of charge. I don't think I've ever actually seen it get that high before. So that's pretty awesome. This has been a very long drive home. It usually takes like 2.5, maybe 3 hours at worst, and here it is like 2 o'clock. I left there at 10:30. It's just, this is a very long trip and it's taking forever, but I think maybe the weather is clearing up a little bit, or at least it's not raining right now. Actually, it is still kind of sprinkling. All right, so my body has been bioed. More coffee has been got a little gum for the fresh breath. There was something I was wanting to kind of rant about while I was driving, but the traffic was so bad and the rain was so bad, I didn't want to risk, getting into an issue. But anyway, so yeah, Friday night, my mom and I, we stayed in the same room, so we just kind of like stayed up late and we chatted and we talked about our feelings, and it was, it's always good. Like, I don't get to see my mom that often, so when we get to talk, it's nice. But she talked a little bit about, when she was growing up with my grandmother. My grandmother was like a force of nature. She kind of had a lot of insisting that my mom be a certain way, and of course my mom had issues with that. And wow, I had some good coffee. Shout out to Loves. But my mom talked about how she wanted to do drama and acting and stuff when she was in high school, and my grandmother never wanted her to do that, and so she never really did it, and always regretted it, that whole thing, which I thought was amazing. Like, I'm 44 years old and I'm finding out things about my mom that, parallel to me, that how this never came up before, I don't know. But I'm glad that we're having these conversations now, though, because, someday I won't be able to. But, okay, I know. I keep hitting the brake and it's telling me, you're plugged in, you can't go. Anyway. But no, it was this whole thing about, like, she wanted to do these things when she was young, and her mother wouldn't really let her do it. And then she went off to college right after she moved out of my, grandparents' house, went off to college, immediately got married while she was at college, and went straight from, she never got to, like, set her own agenda and live her own life, is what I'm trying to say. And that's kind of what she was talking about. And I want to say before I go into this rant, I don't have kids. So anytime I talk about parenting, understand I'm totally talking out of my ass. But I've had this feeling for a while, and what my mom said just sort of reinforced it, that I feel like the best thing you can do when you're a parent is to follow your dreams and to live the life that you want, because that inspires your kids to do the same thing. You know, I think kids take after their parents in subconscious ways a lot more than we even realize. And if you set that sort of example of here's how to live a fulfilled and passionate life, then your kids will absorb that and they'll take it in and they'll go with it. But we always do the opposite. I mean, my mom's story is nothing new. Probably most parents have a similar story like that, where they have some dreams and goals and things that they want to do, and then they have kids, and it's like, well, okay, I got to take care of the kids. And that's not a bad thing, you know. Of course, you love your kids, you want to do the best for them, and you set your needs aside to take care of them. But I think paradoxically, that often goes the other way. I think it often, hurts the kids in the long run. And again, I know I'm totally talking out of my ass, and when you have kids, that's not just a moral and ethical responsibility, it's a financial responsibility, and you got to put food on the table and that whole thing. I mean, another example of this is that, I'll get to my point in a second. So my mom, when she was a teenager, she had this awesome baby blue, like 66 Ford Mustang, right? And then she gets married, she has kids, and she's like, this is not a good car for toting kids around, because it's not made for that. So she did the right thing, and she got rid of the car, got a sensible minivan or whatever, and she starts toting us two little rugrats around. And then so my sister grows up and she becomes almost old enough to get her own car, and she finds out that my mom used to have this awesome Ford Mustang, and she's like, why did you get rid of that car? What is wrong with you? Why would you get rid of that? And I put myself in my mom's perspective. This isn't something she said, by the way. This is just something I did. I kind of went in there. But thinking like, imagine you're young and you got a spirit and you got these things you want to do with your life, and you got this awesome car and everybody loves it, and you're driving around and you're cool, and then you go off and you wind up having a kid and you say, oh, I really love this car, I don't want to get rid of it, but I love this kid more and I need to do the right thing, so I'm going to get rid of this car. And then that kid that you got rid of the car for grows up and they give you all kinds of shit about why, because you got rid of the car. And you're like, I look in the mirror, that's why I got rid of the car. You're why, you. So I can understand some frustration there. Again, I am projecting all of that. That is not something my mom ever said about my sister. I just remember thinking, like, I'm sure it wasn't easy for her to get rid of that car, and she did it for you, so don't complain. But I'm bouncing around here, but I remember there was an interview with George Clooney where he was talking about how his dad, and I don't remember his name, I don't think it was George, but his dad was like a local personality, TV personality. I think it was a news guy, or he had a talk show or something in Kansas City or St. Louis, one of those Midwestern cities. And so George Clooney grew up to be this big famous actor, and he pursued his dream of acting and all that kind of thing. Now, a couple of deals here. One, I'm not going to say there's no nepotism involved here, because of course there's some element of that in there. George Clooney's aunt, I believe, is Rosemary Clooney. He was a famous singer. So he had connections. That helps. Let's just be honest here. But in this interview, he was talking about how, it wasn't always easy for his dad to kind of choose this road in life. But he did it. And George Clooney was saying how thankful he was that his dad did that, because he grew up seeing his dad doing this, and he grew up with the attitude that this is something you can do. This is achievable. If my dad can do it, then I can do it. And maybe if he hadn't grown up around somebody that had also done it, he wouldn't have pursued it himself. I mean, we're all inspired by people who do things, whether it's friends or family or anybody. If you see somebody that goes off and does the thing that you want to do, that makes you say, shit, I can do that. It's this weird paradoxical thing, and I'm not saying this to shame anybody who might have had a dream and let it go because they had a family and needed to do the right thing. But a lot of times what we think is the right thing at the moment, the safe thing at the moment, isn't. It's actually the worst thing you can do. And there's no way to know what's the right thing, except I really feel like it's important to kind of follow your gut and your passions and the things that you care about, and don't let them wither on the vine. You know, when I left my job at the Dallas Morning News, I'd been there for 12 years, and I wasn't doing the safe thing. I was taking a pay cut to go work for a startup, and do YouTube full time. I mean, that's kind of a crazy thing on paper. But the fact of the matter is, 6 months after I left my job, they canned my entire department. So if I had done the safe thing and stayed at my job, I would have been laid off. I would have been unemployed. I didn't have any kind of foresight that anybody else didn't have. It just worked out that way, and I'm super lucky and I'm super thankful for it. Again, I don't have any right to talk about parenting and what's right and what's wrong. I don't think there is a right way to parent. I've said it before, I don't think there's a way to raise a kid without screwing them up a little bit. All you can do is teach them to later undo the crap that you instilled in them. I do think it's important, if you have kids, to find a way, if it's possible, to do the thing you love and to follow a passion and follow a dream, because I think you're teaching them in a subconscious way far more than you're teaching them consciously and by pointing at, like you're teaching somebody to tie their shoes. I think just setting an example and giving them something to aspire to, and giving them hope that they could do the thing that they want to do, even if it's not the same thing you're doing. I just think that carries a lot more weight than we realize, than we talk about. Anyway, I have plenty of charge to get home now. I had time to literally stop, get some coffee, pee, and talk to you guys for a minute, and now it's time to hit the road again. Well, I finally got home. I've actually been home for a little bit, but I fed the dogs and, kind of got things straightened up, checked mail, all that. But I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video. I didn't really know how to do this and what to do with it, but I figured I might as well sort of pseudo-document the journey, the little trip that I took this week to see my mom. Maybe someday I'll get her on camera. I really didn't even bring it up this time because I didn't want it to be about that. So, yeah, I'm just going to put this together, and, hey, if you are a mom or someone who isn't married to a mom or has a mom, if you're a mom out there, you might be watching this around this weekend, happy Mother's Day to you, and thank you for all that you do on account of all the people who have mothers, which you are too, yeah. So thanks to all the moms out there. If you're not a mom, take time to thank your mom. Hope you're all doing well. Happy Mother's Day, and I will catch you when I catch you.